Hello, everyone, and welcome to No Butts About It. This is the first time we are doing this stream. No other streams exist. We are talking about the New York Jets sending franchise quarterback, former number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson, to the Denver Broncos for a 6th-round pick. They are also sending a 7th-round pick along with Wilson to get that 6th-round pick. And joining us today, we have Stan, the Jet fan, to give us his thoughts about this trade. So, Stan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
What are your initial thoughts? I mean, your franchise guy, the future of the New York Jets, is now a Denver Bronco.
Good riddance. I mean, it's been a rough 3 years with Zach Wilson in the in the commander's seat. And we've watched him progress a little bit. I think he's definitely gotten better. He doesn't push the ball too much down the field when he doesn't need to. But is he a starting level quarterback for the Jets? Has he ever been that? Not really. So I'm very happy to see him move on. And I think it's the best for him as well, right? I don't think he was going to get any luck with the team moving forward. I don't think we were changing anything for him. We're keeping most of our coaches that we're going to make, the game plan. So ultimately, I think it's the best for both parties.
So, do you feel like you got, because this is kind of a weird trade, because all you got out of this was a 6th-round pick for your quarterback and a 7th-round pick. So, do you feel like the compensation was fair?
Honestly, it's more than I expected. For the most part, I did not think we were going to get a trade partner. I thought we were going to have to cut him, eat up the dead cap, and move on. So I'm really happy with any trade. I was hoping to get a 7th and a 7th round swap, right? Move up a couple parts, a couple places in the 7th, and maybe have that, right? But ultimately, this is, in my opinion, the best possible situation for the Jets. I don't think we're going to get anything more than this.
What do you think about the idea? And I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I've seen already some people on Twitter suggesting this is going to happen. Denver was a team that was expected to draft a quarterback this year. Russell Wilson is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Sean Payton said he's trying to build his offense, needs a young guy. There were some thoughts that maybe Jarrett Stidham would be that guy, and then a rookie. Is Zach Wilson going to be that guy for this year in Denver?
I've been confused by just about everything Sean Payton has done in his tenure with the Broncos. So this wouldn't surprise me that much at this point if that was the plan. For me, I don't think this should change anything for the Broncos in regards to, do they target a quarterback, right? This is a guy who that'd be like if the Jets, went ahead and we got, Tyrod Smith, who, yeah, he might start this season, but he's very injury prone. We still should get a tackle in the draft. That's the same thing with the Broncos, right? Even if you think that Zach Wilson is going to be a good starter for you, I don't think you're going to go ahead and not draft someone high up in the draft. I think at the very least, maybe they can sit up until the 2nd or 3rd round now and maybe not target so high up in the draft, but they still should target someone.
We've talked about in the past, like Zach Wilson potentially having personality issues with being put on the bench for various quarterbacks at various times throughout his tenure with the New York Jets. Do you think that might become a potential hazard in Denver, or do you think that Zach could be someone who helps a rookie, helps them learn the NFL, the way of the road, which Zach also isn't really that old. So I hesitate to even say be that veteran presence, but just be an older presence for a young guy.
I mean, let's cut to the chase. I mean, what are we talking about? What does he bring to the table? I don't think there's a whole lot he brings to the table that's going to help out any young guy. The only thing I think he may have learned that really adds a lot of value to a young quarterback is dealing with the media, because he dealt with the toughest market in sports, New York City. He's dealt with a lot of harsh media analysis. So I think I could definitely see him bringing that to the table with the Broncos. But if I am the Denver Broncos, the only reason I really make this trade and I make this decision is because I believe he can be a good backup. And maybe if my rookie quarterback doesn't play that well, he can come out and be average, which that is what he was the last couple of years. Like last year, he threw, I think, 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, right? Like that's very mediocre, but at least it's not, Trevor Siemian mediocre, right? So
former Broncos quarterback there, by the way, Trevor Siemian. So maybe the Jets and the Broncos have done those quarterback deals in the past. Maybe they have some good relations there, but I just this trade, this wasn't something I expected to see. You kind of alluded to it, like you were lucky to even get that trade done. I was actually sitting down to make a different video, and then all of a sudden I see on Twitter Ian Rappaport posts Zach Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos, and I put it in our group in a group chat, and people were like, "Are you joking? Is this a real thing?" It is a real thing, people. If you are joining this live stream, feel free to comment, but it is a real thing. Zach Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton is probably the most confusing head coach out there. I don't know what the Broncos are going to do. There's also been this rumor that Cortland Sutton is going to get traded. So who are the Broncos going to have for their rookie quarterback? Do you think there is potential that maybe the Broncos are planning to tank? They're already saying we're going all out this year for the number 1 overall pick because they've sold everyone else. Jerry Jeudy isn't with the team anymore. Rumors are Patrick Surtain could be traded if the package was good enough. Zach Wilson is the quarterback out there. Sean Payton apparently likes Jarrett Stidham as well. What is going on? Do we know what's going on? Does anyone know what's going on?
The tank might be real here. I mean, if you're going with Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson as your quarterbacks, I think a tank makes a lot of sense. I do think there's also a high chance that the Broncos are just trying to get some sort of assets to move forward with. Because at the end of the day, Wilson is a guy who we don't really know that much about. We've seen him play badly, but we've also seen him play really well. So maybe the Broncos are going to say, we're looking at the Jets. We're looking at their terrible coaching situation on offense. We're looking at their coordinator who didn't really know what was going on. We're looking at the fact that Wilson was not supposed to start at all this season, and he goes and plays week 1, snap number 5. So maybe they're just hoping that Wilson, had a bad coaching situation. Maybe they can try to rescue him from that.
So, okay. Let's say hypothetically, and obviously everyone is hoping this doesn't happen. And I know you're hoping this doesn't happen. We have a rerun of last season. Aaron Rodgers goes to take snap number 4. Maybe he makes it to snap number 5 this time. He goes down. We got to send in Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian. Are they both still with the New York Jets, or who's
No, we got Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, that's right. Tyrod Taylor. So, okay, you feeling more comfortable about Tyrod Taylor coming in as your starter?
I don't know if you remember this, but I was washing my clothes about a month and a half ago, and I was in the laundry room, and you and I, we were calling each other. And one thing I said was the number 1 quarterback, like Minshew would be great, but I don't think he's going to want to come. The number 1 guy I want, who I think we could realistically get, was Tyrod Taylor, and we got him. So to me, Tyrod Taylor is the best backup quarterback for the Jets because he's not going to want to start. I think Minshew and that kind of level of backup, they want to go to teams where they have a chance of starting, right? Tyrod Taylor's a guy who knows he's not going to get a starting position. So for him to come to the Jets, I think he's the best quarterback for the Jets situation.
Okay. Do you have any words for Broncos fans about this trade, about like, hey, haha, we beat you? Or do you just want to say, I did ask one of my friends who's a Broncos fan for a comment that I could read on the air about this trade. However, I cannot read that comment on the air because he was not happy about the trade at all. And there were some words that were said. So do you want to apologize to them or something? Or do you feel bad for Broncos fans in any way?
I will say the one thing Zach Wilson has given me is a lot of surprise games, right? I mean, he surprised the Eagles, right? We beat the Eagles. That was one of the happiest weeks of watching football for me this last season. Um, I believe he wasn't the guy who started when we beat the Bengals when they were doing really well, but he's had other upsets in his time in the NFL. So for the Broncos, the division you have and the tough teams you're going to play against, maybe he could surprise the Chiefs. You know, you almost beat them this year. You might have some surprise games here and there, but his inconsistency is going to kill you.
That is true. He's a very inconsistent player. And there were weeks where I was like, yay, we're finally going to get Zach Wilson. He's finally going to live up to that number 2 overall pick. I was kind of rooting for him because, as you said, that New York media is just awful at beating down players when they're not playing well. But yeah, I think it's probably a good thing for both the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos that they get Zach Wilson out of New York. He just was not playing well. He wasn't the answer at backup. He wasn't the answer at the number 2 overall pick. Number 2 overall pick turns into a 7th round pick. I think that's all I got, Stan. If you have any final words, feel free to say them before we head into the like, comment, and subscribe speech.
I mean, I did not think he was going to get traded. I am super happy to have something, right? At least we didn't have to eat up his cap. So for me, this is about the best I expected from the Zach Wilson era of the Jets going into this offseason. And I'm happy to move on.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Stan, the Jet fan, talking about Zachary Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos. I am Josh Butts. This has been No Buts About It. And if you are watching this back later, thank you for watching. Always feel free to join and to comment on these videos. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe before you leave and go do something nice for someone.